Hey, one of my very favorite things to do in fishing is put my boat in the water on a lake I've never been to and try to figure out how to catch fish, where they're gonna be, how many fish might be in a certain lake, if they're shallow, if they're deep. I love everything about it. The way I typically start is when I put my boat in the water, I put my Garmin GPS map 7612 on 4 screens. And what I mean by 4 screens is I've got traditional sonar, I've got mapping, I've got down view, and I've got side view, and I can see the whole picture. And I'm basically just searching for anything. I'm searching for rocks, for logs, for grass. I can see bait balls out to the side. Anything that I might see in the water might help me figure out how to catch a bass. You know, fishing new lakes is just one of those things that just kind of gets me charged up about fishing. Thanks for joining us. This is Fishing and Hunting Texas.
From Mexico to Louisiana, the Red River down to the Laguna Madre, Texas is one big playground. Join professional bass fisherman and 3-time FLW Angler of the Year, Clark Wendlandt, as he takes you on some of the best outdoor adventures the Lone Star State has to offer. This is Fishing and Hunting Texas.
So you know, one of my very favorite things to do in fishing is go to a lake I've never been to before. You know, fish a place that, you know, that I think there's some fish, but that I just don't really know what to expect. And, you know, this is one of those lakes. You know, one thing that I really like to do when I'm fishing a place I've never really fished much before is just have a lot of rods rigged. You know, I've got a bunch of different baits on, anything from shallow to deep, anything from slow to fast. I kind of want to cover everything. I've got 12 on the deck right now. I've probably got another 6 or 7 in the rod box that I can just, you know, pick up and choose. You know, and if you don't have that many rods and you don't use that many, just have a lot of different ideas in mind. Get 3 or 4, a fast one, a slow one. Get 3 or 4 that you know, can start with, and then everything on a new lake tells you something. You know, you're watching your depth finder as you're fishing along. If you don't get any bites, that's telling you something too. You might be fishing deep water, not getting any bites, you might need to move shallow, or vice versa. Everything tells you something. You know, today was a treat for me. You know, the conditions that we had to deal with were, you know, water temperature 57, you know, up to about 60, 61. And, you know, we're early spring, you know, and so the water's pretty warm. You know, you're expecting them to be shallow, and we start up shallow. We start on docks and ended up back in a creek, and the first fish we caught was on a spinnerbait. And you know, that would be what I'd expect, but we couldn't get any more bites that way. And so, you know, as time went on, we kind of started working our way up lake, and I'm fishing some deeper laydowns, about 10 foot of water. And the first fish good fish I caught, 3.5 pounder, maybe even a little bit bigger, was on a small kind of finesse football head. Right in the base of that tree. Get it here, all right. I caught that on a little finesse jig, 1/2 ounce finesse football head. That's a chunk now. That's a chunky fat fish. You know, I had that fish in pretty heavy cover. He's on the outside of a tree. And, you know, I'm throwing kind of a small jig. This is a little Strike King football head. And, you know, there's some rocks and stuff out there, so I'll drag it a little bit, then I'll pitch it up around a log. I'm not in the real heavy stuff, but he was over a log right there. So basically all you got to do is fill your line. I'm using Sunline Shooter fluorocarbon, and it's incredibly abrasion resistant. You know, that whole stretch of line right here was in that tree, but it doesn't have any nicks on it. And then there's just a little bit of nick right down at the bottom. So I'll just, basically all I'm gonna do is just retie it, clip that little bit off, and see if we can get another bite.
Do you have a question for Clark? Maybe you'd like to see him fish your favorite lake. Reach out to him on Facebook or check out fishingendhuntingtexas.com and follow his blog. We'll be right back with more right here on Fishing and Hunting Texas.
It's in our stomping grounds and our playground. It's in our sights and our commitment. It's in him, it was in them, and it will continue with her. It's in my nature. Is it in yours?
Let's get down to business. Quiet, you sons of fishes. Now, what?
I'm switching sonar.
Why?
Cause now I can see fish swimming live in front of my boat. I even see fish attack my lure. Y'all's sonar is just history. I'm out.
I'm with him.
Oh, nice shot.
You put the cool in life. We put the cool in coolers. Arctic ice.
When you're out hunting, make sure you're carrying GroveTech. GroveTech is designed specifically for the rigorous demands of the hunt and sets the standard for strength and ruggedness when out in the field. GroveTech products have simply built the best tools for the job and are proudly made in the USA. Go hunt. We'll carry the gun. GroveTech.
Fishing and Hunting Texas is brought to you in part by Cabela's. It's in your nature. Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. And by Garmin. Fight your fish, not your fish finder.
This ain't pretty. Okay. I made it. Hey, sometimes when you set your camera guy on the bank and he does the splits and the boat drifts off, you gotta climb a big rock to get back in it. Better than getting wet. You know, really probably what surprised me the most about the day is that we didn't catch any shallower, you know? And so as we keep going, I look down and I actually look down at my side view. You know, I've got a 4-screen going on at the time. I've got down view, side view, I've got mapping, and I've got traditional sonar. And I look out to the side and I'm seeing some what look like boulders to me on the screen. And so on those boulders, I kind of move out there and start fishing it, and pretty quick I get a bite. I miss that one, and then I catch like a 2.5 pounder on the same little finesse jig. That's a good fish right there. Oh, that's a nice one. Now listen, this is pretty wild right here. I gotta show you what I've been doing. I'm just out in the middle, and what happened is it's not a giant, but it ain't bad. What happened is I started on my side view. I started seeing rocks out from the bank, and so, you know, what I decided to do is get out here and just kind of drag a little small football head around out there, and boom, 2.5 pounder. That ain't bad. You know, it's not like we found just a ton of fish, but when you see rocks like that, you know, you're going along and it's just the same all the time, and then you find these big rock outcroppings. Well, I mean, that's something bass can hang on. There's certain places that a bass won't be, And generally speaking, if it's just on pure sand with nothing there, he ain't gonna be right there. But then, you know, we get up around some laydowns and we get to, you know, we catch a couple on some trees, and then we see this rocky outcropping. By nothing more than just paying attention to my side view. I've got my screen set up where I can actually see out to the side. I see these boulders and get out here and catch one that way. So we don't know the best way yet by any means, but just by keeping an open mind, we're starting to figure something out. Oh, that's a nice one. Now this is just, this is so cool right here. All I'm doing is I'm just kind of trolling around on this big giant flat, and I pick up a Strike King 1.5 flat, which is a great bait this time of year because it's got a pretty tight wobble, and I just like it as a pre-spawn crankbait. And that fish right there, I mean, I don't even know what's anywhere. I'm just sitting there throwing, and all of a sudden we started getting some bites. We get on this big flat, and that's a good one right there. But to be honest with you, I got to get back out there. The first one we caught on a little small football head, tour grain tungsten, 1/2 ounce football head. But man, there's so many rocks. It's just like, well, hey, maybe cranking them would be better. You know, that was about my second cast with that bait, so.
Stay with us. There's more Fishing and Hunting Texas with Clark Wendlandt right after these messages. High-Vis Shooting Systems knows that your shooting performance matters in all conditions. All high-vis shooters experience faster target acquisition with our durable LightWave sights. Featuring easily interchangeable light pipes, LightWave sights give your eyes the exact sight picture you crave. Shoot high-vis. See what you've been missing.
From big waters to the shallows and the whole outdoors, the aluminum rig you've always wanted is here. Packed with features, now you can enjoy the legendary ride, quality, stability, and peace of mind from Ranger. Coupled with Evinrude E-Tech's unrivaled performance and 300 hours with no dealer schedule maintenance, every Ranger aluminum boat is engineered to excel and priced to be yours. Power your Ranger with Evinrude E-Tech.
There's two things between an angler and the fish, the sun and the bugs. Sawyer's line of sunscreens and bug sprays keep you focused on the fish. Sawyer's Stay Put sunscreen formula bonds with your skin for a more comfortable and better level protection. And picaridin insect repellent will only harm the bugs, never your fishing gear. Also, Sawyer permethrin repels and kills on contact over 55 species of insects. You're already outdoors. Sawyer keeps you there.
It's about the hours spent getting everything just right. It's the attention to detail. Good just isn't good enough. It's the years spent on the water day after day. When you tie on a bait by Strike King, you're standing on the shoulders of legends.
Fishing and Hunting Texas is brought to you in part by Lucas Oil. It works. Arctic Ice. We put the cool in cooler. And by Bubba Blade, the ultimate sportsman's knife. Welcome back to Fishing and Hunting Texas with your host, 3-time FLW Angler of the Year, Clark Wendlandt.
You know, when I'm fishing in February, I call that the pre-spawn in Texas. What I really look for is, you know, I'm looking for places that fish are gonna move up, usually onto flats, and actually spend time feeding. And they're active, they're aggressive, and they'll bite baits that are moving. And so a couple of baits that I really like this time of year is just a standard spinnerbait. This is a Strike King Pro Model spinnerbait. You know, this bait can get a lot of bites. It's easy to fish around cover. You can fish it through anything. It's almost totally weedless, and it's a big fish catcher. It's one of those baits that'll always get you a big bite. And then another bait I love to fish this time of year is a Strike King KVD 1.5. Now, a 1.5 is a bait to me that you can cover some water with, and it's a moving bait. It'll go right over the top of grass. You can fish it on rocks. You can fish it around laydowns. It's really weedless. It's just a bait that'll get a lot of good bites. You know, when this bait travels through the water, it'll go through the water and it'll basically kind of move. It's not just a perfect straight line. It'll move back and forth a little bit. That's what generates those good strikes. Right before the fish go on the beds, these are great baits to catch good fish. Just right out in the middle. This fish right here. Oh, get in here, dude. All right. That's cool. Good fish. I changed crankbaits. This is a Strike King 3XD, and I just like this bait because it gets deep quick. And when you're fishing, sometimes this time of year, you want a bait that'll dive fast. That's a nice one right there. That's awesome, man. I just love figuring them out. And you know, when you look at those fish, you can tell this lake is one of those lakes that's pretty healthy. I mean, the fish are fat, and they should be fat this time of year. If you get on a lake, the fish are skinny, it may not be that healthy lake. We're just fishing open water right here. Strike King 3XD. Let's see if we can get another one. So we're sitting up here and we started catching fish, and all of a sudden you hear this little bit of a roar. And the roar that we started hearing, we didn't even know what it was, and all of a sudden the dam started letting out some water. And so we're down here and our fishery's totally changed. You know, we're sitting here, the water's moving as fast as it can move, and now we've got to kind of refigure out where these fish are at, which is just as fun. So let's see if we can do it. Guadalupe bass right there. I'm gonna show you, I always love catching Guadalupes. And you don't see them all that often. It looks a little bit like a smallmouth, and this one's pretty poor, but that's not a bad one right there. They're marked up like a smallmouth, kind of brown, but kind of have spotted bass spots. That's a Guadalupe bass right there. That's cool right there. I love catching different fish, and you know, on the Highland Lakes chain, there's a lot of Guadalupe bass, and they don't get real big. You know, the state record's only high threes, maybe right at 4 pounds, but they're fun to catch. There's one. Woo, that's a big one. Look at the size of this brute. They started pulling water and, oh, he choked it. Get out of there. at that one. Oh, that's a good one. Look how deep he had that plug. I want to show you. Now that's how you want to see him eat a crankbait right there. Deep down in the gut. And it's easy to unhook them too. You just give it just a little bit of slack and it comes right out. That is a giant right there now. Look at that fish. 6-pound. They turned on the dam, and you know, we're sitting out here, we're catching fish, everything's good, and all of a sudden they turn on this water, and we hadn't caught anything for about 30 minutes, and then caught a Guadalupe, and bam, 6-pounder. That's awesome. That's a brute right there. That is too much fun. I mean, we're just sitting out here kind of on a big flat. There's boulders and rocks everywhere. Actually changed crankbaits right there. I threw it, that's a KVD 1.5 and kind of a shad pattern, and all I could think is, let's do it again.
Well, coming up, we'll wrap up the day and Clark will go over his tackle selection. So stay with us, we'll be right back with more Fishing and Hunting Texas.
Every day, your eyes are exposed to dust, debris, and wind. Only Wiley X removable gaskets block it all out, and your eyes remain safe. Wiley X, absolute premium protection for sportsmen.
From the makers of Bubba Blade comes the Bubba Blade Fishing Pliers. No matter where you're headed to fish, this tool will become an integral part of your tackle box for many years to come. They feature our patented no-slip grip handles, just like our Bubba Blade knives, ensuring that this tool will stay firmly anchored in your hand. In addition to the handles, these pliers feature a super tough cobalt cutter and convenient split shot and leader sleeve crimping cutouts. The ultimate in control, strength, and durability. Bubba Blade.
Hercules Outdoor Industries is the new leader in hunting blinds. However you hunt, Hercules is the one blind for all needs. Hercules blinds are entirely made in the USA using high-quality fiberglass components that can last through rain, snow, and all those cold winters. All Hercules fiberglass hunting blinds are foam insulated and carpeted, and Hercules Outdoor Industries will arrange to have it delivered directly to you. Find out more at HerculesOutdoors.com.
You work hard to put feed where you need it, when you want it. And thanks to our patented SpinTech spinner mechanism that elevates up and down, you'll no longer have feed go to waste due to wind or unwanted varmints. When the motor is shut off, the spinner plate is automatically pushed up tight and sealed against the hopper, protecting your feed. Stop wasting your time and let the SpinTech technology work for you.
Image 360 at Round Rock provides professional graphics to businesses and organizations. Our professional team works closely with you to maximize the creativity and visual impact of your design. We do indoor and outdoor signs, banners, vehicle wraps, three-dimensional signs, window graphics, trade show displays, and more. Contact us today to significantly boost the visibility of your business with Image 360 in Round Rock.
Fishing and Hunting Texas is brought to you in part by Strike King Lure Company and Optics, Sawyer, we keep you outdoors, and by Image 360, your complete custom visual solutions partner. Welcome back. We're on a small lake with Clark Wendlandt. It's early February, and in central Texas, that means the fish are pre-spawn. The water temperature's in the upper 50s and pushing past 60 by mid-afternoon. We started the morning shallow, but by picking up on some subtle clues, keeping an open mind, and an eye on the Garmin, it wasn't long before Clark found fish staging up on a deep flat.
You know, my recommendation is if you're fishing a new lake, or if you're fishing your lake, and just go try some different areas. That's what really makes you a better fisherman. To put yourself in situations that you haven't seen over time. That's how you can really get better as a fisherman. Oh, that's a good one. Come in here, dude. There we go. That's so awesome right there. Hey, what a day. You know, we've got out here a lake I've never fished before, and, you know, pretty much had a lot of rods rigged and threw a lot of different baits, and we caught them on a lot of different baits. Caught a 6-pounder, a bunch of nice 3.5 to 4 pounders like this one. Super day. I love getting out and just approaching a new lake or a lake that you know pretty well, but part of it you hadn't fished before. Go try that. It's very rewarding, and you can catch a lot of big fish. Thanks for joining us. You know, overall today ended up being pretty good. I want to talk to you a little bit about my tackle setups and kind of what we saw today, and we caught them on a lot of different baits. I mean, you look behind me, I got a lot of rods rigged, and that's a big key when you're fishing a new place that you've never been before, because you just don't know really what to expect. You want to be able to try different things to be able to kind of try to figure it out. The main baits that we caught them on today were really crankbaits. This is actually a Strike King 3XD. We caught 2 or 3 on it. We caught 2 or 3 on a 1.5 flat. And then the big fish that we caught was actually on this right here, a KVD 1.5. And you know, you can look at that bait and you can tell it's got some scratches on it. We caught 2 or 3 on it. Hey, those were good sized fish, and we had no idea what to expect today. You know, a lot of times I kind of look at the end of the day, what my expectations were going into the day, and then how did we fare? You know, was it a good day? And I love doing this. You know, I love getting on the water and trying a new lake and seeing what some place has to offer if I can figure out bass on that particular place. You know, hey, as far as a grade today, I'd say it was pretty good. You know, A minus, it was a good day. I mean, it wasn't great. We caught a 6-pounder, we caught several 4-pounders, some 3-pounders. I mean, we'd have had a great tournament weight. And then as far as, you know, hey, would we have had something to go back to? Well, heck yeah, we caught, we ended up catching them on that big flat, had all those rocks on it. I think we could have gone back there tomorrow and caught a bunch more. It was a fun day. I'm sure glad you joined us.
If you've got a question for Clark, reach out to him on the Fishing and Hunting Texas Facebook page. You can also check in on his blog or watch your favorite episodes at fishandhuntingtexas.com. Fishing and Hunting Texas is a Careco TV production. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.